Okay, so here we go.
Evening all.
Hello, good evening. Welcome everyone. Right. We're gonna have a slightly shorter share, depending on when I can hear the main course being, served.
Sorry,
But
are you officiating under the copper?
no. That's in 5 minutes. No, we're good. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we are up to our next element of the future Jewish people part, right? So if I can share this screen. Oh, it's gone back to the beginning. Okay, I'll find it. Don't worry. So if you remember, we were dealing with, we just kind of painted a rough picture of what life may or may not be in the future, right? And we said we would look at Moshiach, and we're going to talk this week about how Moshiach can arrive, right? There we kind of outlined a
Yeah.
couple of things. I feel bad now that I've wasted time a little bit on this, but that's okay. This evening we're going to deal with what is it going to be like with Moshiach's arrival, right?
Hmm.
Remember, we started this last time. Remember, two ways Moshiach
Yeah.
can arrive. Now we're dealing with the process, and we did that. Sorry. Let's look at what will life look like after Moshiach arrives. Everyone see the screen?
Yeah.
Great. Okay. So says the Rambam in Hilchas Melachim as follows: "V'osaz man at that time lo yeh shum sham lo ra'av lo milchama. There'll be no hunger nor war. Lo kina v'lo tachris. There'll not be any kina, which means competitiveness, Vatachris or competition. There won't be anyone like jealousy. Sorry, kina is jealousy. There won't be jealousy, competition. Shatova tia mushbas harba. There'll be goodness everywhere. Right now, that's quite an important point. I want to explain that. Why is goodness the antidote for jealousy and competition? Anyone know?
No, well.
No, okay, I'll deal with it. So there's two elements here. Firstly, sometimes when you're in a bad mood, everything and everyone is negative. Meaning when sometimes there's certain things that irritate you, but when you're elevated, and when you're kind of a bit higher and looking from above, you're like, I can let that slide. Do you know what I mean? It's when we're what we
Hmm.
call a little I mode that you can't really let things slide because everything is a challenge and everything is what's the word? Everything is threatening. Yeah, everything feels threatening. Um, um, when you're kind of rising above and a bit better, then things are no longer threatening. Okay, so that's our point. So there won't be any rava milchama lo kina v'tachris. In those times, there won't be any kina v'tachris, any jealousy or competition, because there'll be a lot of goodness. There'll be a lot of things around. We'll be raised up. We won't be we won't be, what's the word? Submerged in the pettiness. Yeah, the other concept here is the reason why we're jealous and compete with each other is because there are a limited number of resources, right? Now, if everyone has them, then you don't need to be jealous or get competitive, right?
Hmm.
Right? That makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
great. Then it says, "V'chala ma'adanu matzin ka'afar." All delicacies will be found as dust, a bit like the Garden of Eden. Lo yeh esek kol olam ela das Shem bilvad. And the only thing we will want to do, and the only thing we'll concern ourselves with is knowing Hashem. Right? So, in other words, that's a spiritually conscious world. That's bigger, that's greater, that's fantastic. And the question is, what about our physical world? Will there still be cars? Will there still be playing? Will the physical world, as we know it, both technologically and in terms of the rules of physics, will they all be around? Yeah?
Well, it, well, by the sounds of things,
Yeah.
no, and we won't need them because we won't be doing what we would normally do, what we currently do, correction.
Okay, interesting. Now, why would they be? I mean, maybe we'll have technology and we'll want to know Hashem. Why are they mutually exclusive?
Well, I suppose if we get to know Hashem, then we can just say, oh, by the way, I want to visit somebody in South Africa. Yeah, no problem. That's it. We get transported.
I hear that. I hear that. The question is, will South Africa still be corrupt? No, I'm joking. Okay, so they're transported to.
Alchait.
Pardon?
That's an alchait.
That's
But it just because if the world exists in a way that is other than we know it at the moment, it doesn't mean everything would be different, potentially.
Good. That's what we're going to explore. 100%. Let's explore that. So this is really what the Gemara in Shabbos says. Daf Lamed Amud Beis. The Gemara now, just careful over there. The Gemara starts off by saying the world will be almost miraculously different. So listen to this. Why may it be miraculously different? Maybe we'll put it like this. If the physical world is here to serve a spiritual purpose, when the world enters a new spiritual realm, kind of new zone, then the physical world could change because it's no longer there. It doesn't need to support its purpose anymore. I mean, that's number one. And number two, let's leave it at one for the moment. I think one was good enough. Don't need to add to it. Right, let's look at this. Says the Gemara in Shabbos, the Yosef Rabban Gamliel Kadoresh. Rabban Gamliel got up and he darshaned the following. He said as follows: Asida Isha, in the future, a woman is going to Teya B'chol is going to give birth every single day. Yeah, that's fantastic. Meaning there won't be. It sounds like a 9 month, what do you call it? Not gestation.
Pregnancy.
Pregnancy, thank you. Yeah, as it says in the pasuk. Fine. Asidin Ilanis, in the future, trees are going to be motzi and peris b'choyom. In the future, trees are going to be exhibiting, sprouting forth fruit every single day. Asid Eretz Yisrael shetotzi gluskos kli milas. In the future, Eretz Yisrael will what's the word? Will produce these gluskos, these beautiful cakes, clay milas, these clothes, as it says here, pisas bar ba'aretz. Right? So you see, there's kind of miraculously, the world will be rapidly producing new things that it hasn't done before in such sequence. Yeah? So that doesn't disobey, I think, Gideon, before you come in, I can see your ego here. Yeah? That doesn't disobey the natural laws. It just speeds them up and shows that they're different. Yeah?
Well,
I don't know. I think it shows they're really, really different.
Again,
Because
we're
that
not
was
talking
just-
about things flying out of air and suddenly, water becoming blood. We're not 10 plagues version, right? These are taking the elements of the natural world and just speeding them up.
But the speed at which they work at the moment is what is currently the natural world. So
You're
it's
right,
a
you're right, you're
significant
right.
change to what is natural. It is not. That is not natural in that is not the way nature works
That's
now.
true. You mean it's not evident, yeah, it's not evidentially natural as per current laws. You're right. But in terms of have we seen these things before, forget the speed, they're not unprecedented actions. That's what I meant. Or occurrences.
Really?
So it's not a metaphor just to say that the world would be very fruitful or more fruitful than it is
Doesn't
now.
sound like it. Good question, Jeremy. It doesn't sound like it. But let's pause that thought because it could. Hold on. Yeah. So now that is the Gemara in Shabbos. Okay, now, however, there's another Gemara in Shabbos. Yeah, fancy that. Two Jews. Where it says over here that the Shmuel says the world will obey natural laws. There's a bit of context over here. The Gemara is talking about whether it's forbidden on Shabbos to carry weapons. I'm not talking about in case of B'koach Nefesh. So is there a problem to carry weapons? Forget muksa, like carrying, the laws of carrying. Yeah, the laws of carrying. Now, what does that mean? So generally speaking, the laws of carrying are such that if it is an adornment, then it's not called carrying, right? In other words, if it's like jewelry, but if it's an extra thing called a masoi, that is considered carrying. That make sense?
Mm.
You don't seem very happy.
well, surely we won't need to carry weapons.
Oh,
Because
so
everything-
that's the discussion. Stop cheating. Yeah. So the
Well,
Gemara
not
says like
that
this.
far. It's,
So the Gemara.
it's just fairly obvious, but everything's going to be there for us. Therefore,
So
we
what's-
won't need. Yeah.
Okay, good. So hold on. So Rebbe Lezer says tachshit and henlo. Okay, we'll leave that. They are. Let's go to the next bit. Tani Amr Rebbe Lezer says the Gemara to Rebbe Lezer. Chima'achad tachshit and henlo. If weapons are considered adornments, mahem b'teilim Moshiach. Why will we not need them when Moshiach comes? Right? So he said back, Amalem lefisha inan srichim, because they won't be necessary. Because it says in the future, no nation will raise their sword against each other. Right? That's actually that verse is actually at the UN. But anyway, let's leave them for the moment. Yeah. Then it says, okay, maybe they should be like just adornments, even though you're not going to need them. Amar Abaya says Abaya midi dava ashraga b'tahara, right? They would be ridiculous. They'd be unnecessary, like a candle in the bright afternoon. You just
Yeah.
don't need it. Don't need it, right? So, in other words, the Gemara here has said basically in the days of Moshiach, we won't need weapons. Now, on that it says, Upliga de Shmuel. This all goes against what Shmuel said. Now, what did Shmuel say? Dama Shmuel, Ein bein olam hazeh mos haMashiach, ela shibud malchius bilvad. The only difference between this world and the days of Mashiach are what we call shibud malchius or shibud gallius, means us being subjugated in Golis to the rule of other nations. That's the only difference between our days and the days of Mashiach. Shenemar, as it
Okay.
says, Kilo yechtal evion mikerev aretz. Even in the times of Mashiach, there'll still be poor people.
Yeah. Okay.
Interesting, right? In other words, this whole thing in the future is going to be different. Shmuel disagrees. Shmuel disagrees. Now, again, the Rambam we saw, even Shmuel would agree with that. There'd be a heightened perception of God, etc. There'll still be weapons. There might still be wars. Certainly, there'll still be poor people. Interesting, right?
Mm.
So if you look at the way the Rambam puts it, look at the way the Rambam puts it, the Rambam says an amazing thing, right? And again, he's basically codifying this argument in the Gemara. He says, Al yale ala leiv. Now, Henry, you notice I've got the Hebrew up to make sure you don't cheat. Al yale ala leiv should be Mos HaMashiach, says the Rambam. Don't think in the days of Mashiach, yibatel davar mimin hago shelolam, that the world will look different. Naturally, it will be naturally totally different. Now, later on, we're going to learn about whether our world will be here forever. That's not this chapter. That's not this section. In other words, is there an expiration date? Forget Moshiach, but the physical world, will it be here forever? Yeah, we're going to learn about it. Don't worry. Yeah. Oh, ye Yasham, says the Rambam, chidush b'maisa bereshis. Right? Don't think that the natural laws will suddenly, be abrogated. Ela olam kimin hago noheg. The world is as it continues. V'zeh shenem in a kimin hago noheg. That's Shmuel's phrase, basically. Olam kimin hago noheg. The world will continue in its current form. Or no, well, its current minhag, its laws. Zeh shama b'Yeshaya. So the Rambam asks, what about that which it says in Yeshaya, v'gar zevin kevesh v'nomer im gedi yirbatz? Surely it says in Yeshaya, as you know, we all know and love, that the wolf will lie with the sheep, etc. In other words, how does that, if Yeshaya says in the future, all these animals are going to kind of like live together, but yet at the moment they're carnivorous and they're, predators, etc. How does that work if the world is supposed to remain the same in Moshiach's time? Right? So he says, Mashal v'chida. It's a parable. That's, Jeremy, what you were saying, similar above, right? It's a parable. Inin adavar, all it means is, Shehayu Yisrael Yoshin lebetach and Rishei Akam Amoshim Kazei v'nomer. Just means that the Jewish people will no longer be oppressed by the wicked of the non-Jews, who are compared to a Zev and a Nomer. They're compared to the wolf and etc. Shneimah, it says, Zev arba shadem, v'nomer shokad alareim. V'chazru kulam ledasa emes. Here's the spiritual part. Everyone will return to the correct religion. Lo yigzelu, they will not steal. V'lo yashchisu, they will no longer destroy. Ela yochlu davar muta benachasim Yisrael. Everyone will eat things that they're allowed to eat together with the Jewish people. Shneimah, as it says, v'aryeh kabakar sar yochal teven. A lion will eat like a bakar, like cattle. Will eat the teven, will eat the straw like cattle. All the other things in reference to Mashiach, they're parables. And in the days of Mashiach, we will know what is a parable and what they indeed meant with all of them. Isn't that interesting? Now,
When it says living in,
Go on.
sorry, when it says living in peace among our enemies,
Yeah.
does that mean they're still our enemies, but we're not fighting them? Or
It's a good question. I mean, will they suddenly love us? I don't know. I'm not sure. Good question. Really good question.
How can they
Yeah.
return to the true religion if they were never part of it?
I think it just means to go back. I mean, sorry,
Yeah,
you mean
but-
return? Yeah, all right. I'm not sure if return is the best word for it. I think it means they will just change course. They'll do an about turn.
Okay. And these seem like really quite different opinions. Like basically nothing's going to change versus everything's going to change. It
Yes.
seems quite not really sort of a middle ground between the two there.
Yeah, 100%. But again, spiritually, everyone agrees it will change. That we're not debating, and that's the main thing. Question is what the physical world would look like. The Rambam says, based on Shmuel's opinion in the Gemara, it's a parable, and the other opinion in the Gemara was otherwise. But we can cope with that. Do you know what I mean? We can totally cope with it. Cope with that. We're okay. Yeah. That makes sense? Right. Okay. Good. Okay. That is so far. I'm actually going to take a pause here in a second. But what we've done tonight, I want to set up what we're doing next week, which we've covered a little bit of, but not fully. But we've seen that the world of Moshiach will be different in some ways and not others. What we need to explore next time is free will, how free will works in the times of Moshiach, which we did a little bit. And then we're going to get to this interesting thing, which is predicting Moshiach. Did they get it wrong? How does it work? I learned a Malbim yesterday, not yesterday, on Monday, who predicted that Moshiach will be there. He said 60 years time. It was like in the 1912 or something. He was writing in 1850. Right? So we're going to please go learn all about that. Good? Okay, sorry it's a little bit curtailed. Please God, tomorrow we'll go next week. So
enjoy your evening.
Thank you very much. Well done for persistence.
Cheers.
See you, everyone.
Bye.
All right, have a good week.
Have a good week.